Well, I didn't really have the normal sort of upbringing. My earliest sort of memory is me in foster care. I
Right.
was in
Okay.
foster care with two foster carers
Yep.
called Shirley and Ernie.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was actually in like 14 different foster homes during like
Wow.
my
Okay.
childhood and stuff like
Yep.
that. I was always the kid that never really had anything growing up, so I never thought I would take those sort of excuses and be like, oh well, I can't do that because of this.
Yeah.
I was
yeah,
like, it's the worst that can happen. I could just not enjoy it, and then I just won't do it again.
yeah.
I did everything that I could possibly do
Yep.
to get a medal,
Yep.
and then I let everyone else self-destruct.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was all down to me putting a trust in a friend when, say, like, I got arrested and things like that. It was a friend I used to train with and things like
Right,
that. So I'd
okay.
known the guy. Yeah, so it's a guy I'd known for 12 years. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. I definitely had dark days, and I was living in
Yeah.
my mum's spare room.
Right. Okay.
Some days just slumming around in bed, and
Yeah.
obviously she's losing her head because she's so seeing me as like a high achiever, high energy,
Yeah.
nice guy, go out seeing people, and I'm just locked myself in my room and I'm just watching telly, and I've got no motivation for life,
Right.
let alone
Yeah.
training. What I do, but to say, like, when I finished athletics,
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to finish athletics probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
It was
Okay.
like I never enjoyed athletics. I was just really
Right.
good at it.
Right. Okay.
Got a few. I'm a sucker for motivational videos on YouTube, to be honest. But like, I've got a main one that sort of sticks with me wherever it's sort of like, how bad do you want it? It's like it's
Yeah.
an Eric Thomas video on YouTube,
Right.
and
Okay.
it's basically just like, I would always ask myself when I'm at training, I'm being sick, my legs
Yeah.
aren't working, I'm tired, I
Yeah.
want to go home and watch Netflix and eat
Yeah.
Cheerios, and then I just think to myself, well, how bad do you want it? Because fail to prepare, prepare to fail.
Yeah.
It's, it's as simple as that.
So it's an absolute pleasure today to welcome an incredible guy who won Northern Ireland's first athletics medal in 28 years, winning bronze in the 2018 Commonwealth Games in the 200 metres in Australia, and then went on to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. So we're really excited today to welcome Leon Reid to the show to share his secrets and sacrifices of his professional athletics journey so far, and much, much more. So Leon, welcome to the show.
No, thanks for having me. I'm quite excited about this. It should be quite good.
Good.
Yeah.
So before we start, so the listeners can get to know you just a little bit better, my children have come up with 10 quick fire would you rather questions. And because it's a family portrait, we have Ava, our eldest daughter, who's going to start the show off for you today. So I'll pass you over to Ava and she'll start off with your first question. Well, away you go, Ava.
So the first question is, would you rather game or read a book?
Game.
That was quick.
All day. I spent like 3 hours on Call of Duty this morning.
Oh,
Don't talk about that, but yeah. Busy
Is that
cleaning my house.
is that your go-to game at the moment, that, Leon?
Yeah, Call of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Duty. Yeah, cool.
Absolutely.
Would you rather win 1 million or earn 1 million?
Win 1 million. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I would like to then invest that money and then get more millions. But
Yeah.
if someone goes, you just won £1 million, I'm not going to go, no, thank you.
Take it.
I'll earn it myself. Yeah, 100%.
Would you rather have a takeaway or eat out?
Takeaway, I think. Yeah, takeaway. I like to be at home. I don't
Right,
like
okay.
if I'm in a restaurant and stuff, and then like if the food's cold or something, I just get annoyed. And when people are around me, oh no, I'm just at home on the sofa with
Yeah.
my little chicken balls from the Chinese. That's me. Yeah.
So is that your favourite food, Chinese?
Yeah, I'd say so, or Thai, but you don't
Right,
really get
okay.
very good takeaway Thais.
Right,
So
okay. What about you, Ava?
Chinese is good.
Chinese?
Or pizza.
yeah,
Chinese or pizza? Or just food?
pizza.
Yeah, any food really.
Any food. She's a foodie.
The next question is, would you rather explore the ocean or space?
Right. So I'm gonna say space. One, because I love like looking at stars and thinking about aliens and stuff. But I'm not gonna say the sea because there's too much we don't know about, right?
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
I went snorkeling in Spain And like, I don't usually get in the water, but I went down and they've got like a new face mask thing. You can put it on, you can see under the water. Lovely, right? And I was like, I'm really good at this. And then I looked over and it was just pitch black. And I wasn't even that far out. And I was thinking there could be a shark underneath me right now and I can't see it.
Yeah.
So I'd like to just be in space and just
Float.
Yeah.
and just float about
Cool.
so I know what's going on.
Great answer. Like that one. I think I'd go with space as well.
You like stars.
I do. I must admit, I do like the stars. Last Christmas,
Yeah.
the children got me a book about all the stars.
Oh, yeah.
Because I am quite into like kind of stars and space myself. So I'd have gone with
Well,
space as well.
I think my partner got me. I think they can get like a piece of a star or a star
Right,
named
okay.
after you or something like that. So there you
Cool.
go, Ava. That's a little Christmas idea.
Get you a star.
Yeah.
Would you rather wear Nike or Adidas?
Nike. They've got way more options.
Yeah.
I think I'm wearing Nike now, but yeah, I was sponsored by both, luckily. So
Ooh.
Cool.
I know the differences, but I'd say Nike, and it's more stylish as well. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. You can wear it just.
yeah, just out and about. Yeah.
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 Would you rather own a Ferrari or a Lamborghini?
I think a Ferrari, because I think they're a bit more, don't know, Italian. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
Posh.
more posh. Yeah, no, it is. Because you think Lamborghini, you think rapper, anyone could buy one of them, but a Ferrari, you're like, whoa, okay, different tax
Fancy.
levels. Yeah. So yeah, Ferrari for me.
Would you rather dine with Usain Bolt or Michael Johnson?
Oh, I don't know. I've had the privilege of meeting both.
Cool.
I'm gonna say Usain Bolt because he's a bit younger.
Okay.
We've been in the same sort of nightclubs at the same sort of time, so I know what he's like on a night out. So hopefully dinner can progress. Do a little boogie on the dance floor, but
Yeah.
with Michael Johnson, I think it'd be more sensible, sit down,
Yeah.
talk.
A bit more formal.
Yeah.
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 Would you rather be too hot or cold?
Too hot. I hate being cold.
Same. It's not good.
Yeah.
In athletics as well, you chase the sun. So yeah, cold is not for me. Not for me at all.
Would you rather play the Incredible Hulk or Spider-Man in a Marvel film?
Ooh, Spider-Man.
I love Spider-Man.
Yeah, Hulk is cool, but he's just a bit big, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Like Spider-Man is young, athletic, and he's actually incredibly smart as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
You like
like,
Hulk, don't you?
I do. I am a fan of the Incredible Hulk. I am a fan of it. I think that's one of the first. Like it was with the first Marvel film that I watched, but when I was younger, a long time ago, I remember the episodes being on like a Saturday night, The Incredible Hulk.
oh yeah.
So I remember like kind of watching that. That kind of shows my age just a little bit though, because it was pre kind of Marvel films.
No,
The last
no,
question
yeah, no
is:
comment on that. Go on.
would you rather win gold in the Olympics or world champs?
Olympics. I think the Olympics is forever. World champs is the world champs. It's incredibly. So I've never made a world championship. I was supposed to go to one and turned it down, which we'll get into a little bit later. But the Olympics is like the elite of the elite. When you're an Olympian, you're an Olympian for life.
It looks so cool.
Yeah.
It does look cool.
Yeah.
Right, thank you very much for answering those questions for Ava, Leon.
All right.
I'll let you go now, Ava.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you. I'll see you later.
Thank you for that, Leon. So before we start, I have in front of me some research that the children did, because we try and get the children involved in the podcast, and they do they do the questions for the Would You Rather. And one of the things was that we wrote down, or the children wrote down, was Usain Bolt's 200 meters world record, which he set in 2009, and it was his 19.19 kind of seconds. And then Ava also wrote down that in 2018 in Birmingham, you did your PB in 2027. We had wrote down, which when we looked at it, we thought that was absolutely kind of bonkers that you was like a second kind of behind that world record. So Ava was wanting to ask you that how difficult is it to get that, that extra second kind of off in that 200 meters with it being such a short kind of distance?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's incredibly hard. I know you, and most people do think, oh, you're only a second off, but in terms, we think hundredths of a second.
Right. Okay.
So when we're training, we're thinking 0.01s. So to go into like the thousands and think
Yeah.
1 second is like, well, first of all, we're going to think 10 meters per second. So you're
Yeah.
already 10 meters down.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you've got to add the 0.1 or the 0.2. So you're
Yeah.
actually 12 meters down. And
Yeah.
then to make up 12 meters
Cool.
is a whole different ball game. So it does sound realistic and achievable,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's almost like, don't know, trying to dunk over Kobe Bryant. It's just, yeah, it's one of them.
And you know what? It's that kind of insight that, as someone like ourselves, that you when you kind of broke it down really kind of simply, then really kind of quickly, you kind of quickly understand how difficult that 1 second is. Like you said, we'd probably think it was like just that 1 second.
Yeah.
Whereas when you kind of broke it down there, it's like you said, it's so much more kind of difficult.
Yeah.
However, when we was reading like kind of the times, we did think it was a crazy kind of fast like kind of time. So,
Oh no,
but,
it is. Like no, well, I think the person only Johan Blake's come close to it in
yeah,
1926 or 1927, and then I think it's Noah Lyles is in like 1940s or something like that.
right,
So
okay.
yeah.
Madness. Okay, so let's begin the show. So as you know, the podcast is to shine the light on the secrets and sacrifices all families go through to allow their children to become elite level athletes, and that's something really close to our hearts with having 4 children currently on that journey. So my first question is, could you just take me back to your childhood and your earliest kind of childhood memories when you was living in the West Country in England, and what family life was like back then for you?
Yeah, of course. Well, I didn't really have the normal sort of upbringing. My earliest sort of memory is me in foster care.
Right,
I was in
okay.
foster care with 2 foster carers,
Yep.
called Shirley and Ernie.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was actually in like 14 different foster homes during like
Wow.
my
Okay.
childhood and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So my earliest memory, I'd say, is I was down living in Gloucester,
Okay.
and then I was then taken on by my auntie and uncle.
Right.
I'm still really close with now,
Yeah.
and then moved up to like Wolverhampton, so I moved around quite a lot. But yeah, I was
Okay.
always quite like running around and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah. So when you was at school, did you play other sports, or did you have, so like obviously you got into your athletics. Did you play other sports at school as well?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
even when I was in primary school, I
Okay.
think I played, I think I definitely did. I played table tennis,
Okay.
cricket, basketball, football, bench ball.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
think yeah, it was one of those where I just wanted to try everything and try
Yep.
anything. And
Okay.
that's actually how I got into athletics. I just
Right.
turned up one day and tried it.
Yeah. Yeah. So how old was you then, Leon?
So I started when I was 15.
15 when you, so you was 15 when you started your athletics.
Yeah. I was
Right.
in
Okay.
science class, and
Wow.
I just went on one of the computers and typed in Bristol athletics,
Right.
and then
Okay.
emailed someone, had to create an email address or use
Yeah.
a school email address or whatever, and then emailed someone. They were like, "Yeah, why don't you come down later on this week?"
Yep.
And then drove a bus. Well, I didn't drive a bus. Got on a bus for like 3 hours. Went
Okay.
to the other side of Bristol,
Wow.
and then there was like a guy, 18, 90-year-old guy called Hillary. I thought it was a
Right.
woman meeting, so I was less sort of worried about it. And then turned up
Yep.
as like an old man called Hillary, and I was
Okay.
like, right, like it was, yeah, it was one of them. And then went down, trained, absolutely hated it.
Right. Okay.
Hated it. I was being sick, like legs are hurting, everything. I was like,
Yeah.
this is rubbish. I just want to race. I don't want to do all of this. This is crazy.
Right.
Then from then they said, oh, we've got a race on Sunday, but you're not ready. And I said, no, just let me try. You never
Yeah.
know. Like,
Yeah.
what's the worst that
Okay.
could happen? I could just never turn up again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did race, and then with those times, I won 2 out of 3 of my races, and I was top 10 in the UK for my age. So
Wow. So do you know that you started competing at say 15? Is that quite a late age for kind of athletics? Because I know my boys both play football,
yeah,
and they're 11 and 12. And if they was to say, say get signed to a professional club at say
yeah,
15,
yeah,
typically it'd be like quite kind of late.
late, yeah.
So would it be, is that seen as quite late in athletics, or is that
Yeah,
about
I mean, I know people that started athletics when they were 25. I know people that started when they
right?
were
Okay.
27 and
Yep.
still gone international, still
Okay.
represented the country. So, I mean, I was always the kid that never really had anything growing up. So I never thought I would take those sort of excuses and be like, oh, well, I can't do that because of this.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, what's the worst that can happen? I could just not enjoy it and then I just won't do it again. It's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like, what's the worst that can happen? I could just not do it again. So
yeah.
it was kind of like I just tried it, got on with it, and then yeah, turned out I was actually quite good at it. So
Right. Okay. So a question that we've been asking recent guests is just to try and get an insight into, like, say, match day or kind of competition day. So when you won your bronze in the Commonwealth Games,
yeah.
what would that day look like for you, from, like, say, the time that you say got up and to kind of food that you ate, and, you know, like, kind of the preparation? What would
Yeah.
kind of a competition day look like for you?
Yeah. So my coach has always drilled into us that we need to be prepared before the day even arose. So
Right. Okay.
I knew 6 weeks before I'd even gone over to Australia that I was going to win a medal,
Right. Okay. Cool.
because that's what we'd had in our head
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the year before. So
Yep.
if you're talking on the day, I always knew what I had to do, how I
Yeah.
was going to do it,
Yeah.
and anything else was just sort of there as a bit of a distraction. So I
Yeah.
was able,
Yeah. Yeah.
I, my Instagram's popping off, my Twitter's popping off, my Facebook's popping off. I'm in the papers, I'm on telly, the
Bless you.
first finalist in the 28 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I've never been so popular in my life, but it was put your phone on do not disturb.
Yep.
Um, you wake up, have breakfast. I think I had my Nintendo Switch out there, so I was
Right.
playing that.
Okay.
It was not just anything to distract away and not
Yep.
get excited about the situation that you're in.
Yep. Okay.
Because with excitement comes distraction, with
Yeah.
distraction comes misplaced at sea, and then it
Yeah.
snowballs like that. So
Okay.
from when I woke up, I already knew what I was going to eat. My bag's already packed for the
Yeah.
final.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, I go into lunch.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's not rice, water, and bread.
Yeah.
Like, like I can still have a bit of this, have a bit of that. I
Yeah.
wasn't on a strict diet or anything like that.
Right. Okay.
I would just keep the sugars low, keep the caffeine low.
Yep.
Try to hang out with some of the other people on the team,
Okay.
speak to my coach, just keep it friendly, keep it chill. I'm not
Yep.
like focused. No one talk to me. I'm in my zone. I'm in my zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once again, that brings in distractions and things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I was so well prepared for this journey that I was on. When we were actually there before the final, my coach actually said, all the stars are aligning for you because you're so well prepared.
Yep.
So it was like one of the fastest South Africans in the world got disqualified in the semis.
Right. Okay.
And then another South African got disqualified in the final to then
Wow.
bump me up to the third, and
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
like that. So it was like I did everything that I could possibly do
Yep.
to get a medal,
Yep.
and then I let everyone else self-destruct.
Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So it worked. Yeah, it worked really well. So I'm sorry, I don't really have like a plan that's like
No. No.
woke
No.
up at
That's
7 a.m.
okay.
go out,
But it is all
because
quite kind of well, kind of scripted and, like, kind of planned out, isn't it? It's quite kind of regimented. Might not be the correct kind of word, but everything's kind of like planned out. So, like, obviously, like, kind of like you mentioned about kind of like your foods, and, like, kind of your bag was already packed and everything was already kind of like set in place for you then, wasn't it? Building up
yeah,
to that
yeah,
actual day. Yeah.
I know. Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And same for when I had to qualify for the Olympics.
Right.
So people don't understand that even if you run the qualifying time for the Olympics, you still have to qualify
Yeah.
by winning the national title or
Yep.
finishing top 2 in the country. So I'd gone over to Ireland during COVID,
Yeah.
lived in travel lodge
Yep.
for 10 days,
Wow.
had to get microwave meals, and I'd actually tore something in my calf. So I was hobbling around, couldn't see a
Right.
physio, couldn't see anything like that. And I'm thinking I've got the biggest race in my life.
Yeah.
And then luckily I was able to get permission to go and see someone.
Right.
And
Okay.
I was saying, oh, it's this problem, it's this problem, this problem. He was like, no, it's this. Let's loosen this off, see how you
Yeah.
feel. I hobbled into the office,
Yeah.
and then he was able to sort it out right then and there. And I skipped out of
Amazing. Wow.
there. I
Brilliant.
skipped out of there. And that was like, right, one thing, distraction, done. I
Yeah.
don't need to worry
Okay.
about that.
Yeah.
And then from then I had a breakdown of my whole day.
Yep.
I wrote it down. It's on my Instagram. I wrote it down. It was gonna get up at 10. I'm gonna have a coffee at 11, and then I'm gonna do this. Then I've got the heats. Then I'm gonna
Yep.
have a break. Then I'm gonna have lunch. And then it was like, how am I gonna run the final?
Yep.
Because leading up to this race, I was still 15-time national champion in a row. I've trained my whole life for this.
Yeah.
A lot of people in Ireland at the time didn't want to see me do so well because
Yep.
I'd come over from Great Britain and they've obviously got a higher sort of prestige than the Irish teams. Everyone
Yep.
thought I was taking the easy route.
Yep.
So it was all about sort of proving them wrong as well. So I'd had like a list that was like, hit the first 20 meters, then hold off. I know this person is going to try and come here. So
Yeah.
I'm going to let him come. I'm going to sit on his shoulder and then I'm going to kick. So from then, I'd done exactly how I planned it
Brilliant.
out. I
Yep.
didn't let anything phase me if anything else happened. I'd already
Yep.
gone through it 1,000 times in my head.
Right. Okay.
Even if the guy from lane one had gone past me, turned around and went like that, I'd already planned that in my head. So if that did happen, I wouldn't go,
Yep.
oh no, what am I doing? Oh no.
Yep.
I was ready for every eventuality and everything.
Right.
So I was so well prepared again
Yep.
that I already knew that I was going to win their national title to go to the Olympics.
Yeah. 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 All right. Okay. So from that, for us, for that like unbelievable achievement, can you remember your say first wow moment in the sport? So we recently had Megan Gillier on MBE. And it was her first ride before the Paralympic Games in 2015. It was, and she was the first rider up. And at the time, she didn't understand that, as she said, like the worst rider went first in cycling.
Yeah.
So when she finished her race, she was at the top, and then as more riders went, she saw her name gradually kind of come down. And first
Yeah.
of all, she didn't start riding to actually win and to kind of win those medals. She did it for more kind of intrinsic motivations due to kind of personal experiences and like a brain hemorrhage that she had when she was a little bit younger. But after that experience that she had of seeing herself kind of getting bumped down, she wanted to, her mindset kind of changed and she wanted to stay at the top of like kind of that leaderboard. And she wanted that kind of gold medal. And in that kind of turnaround year, she became the Paralympic world champion and the first gold medalist. So that first event, it wasn't winning the Paralympic kind of gold. It was that first competition that she had where she saw herself getting dropped down kind of the leaderboard. That was her first like kind of wow moment. So can you remember your first wow moment in like kind of the sport?
Yeah, I've got two for you. I've got
Okay.
so one so from when I started when I was 15,
Okay.
six months later I was running for Great Britain at the European Youth Olympics.
Wow.
And then a month later I was at the Youth Commonwealth Games. So I
Yeah.
got a medal in all those competitions. The year later I went to the European Juniors for Great Britain. I
Yeah.
finished, I think I was ranked 30th or something in Europe, one of the lowest ranked.
Okay.
Finished second. I was second on the junior all-time list after
Yeah.
this. And then so I thought, wow, this is easy. This I'm good at this. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
This is just I'm not even trying that hard sort of thing.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? And oh, don't get me wrong, I was like trying hard, but it was all coming a bit easy for me.
Yep.
And then I didn't qualify for the World Juniors Championships a
Okay.
year later, and then my coach sat me down and gave me the biggest bollocking. And then because I was sponsored by Nike, I was getting funding.
Wow.
I was in the papers, I was on telly, I was a local hero.
Yeah.
It was like everything was just, and I was just like, meh, like this is just me now. I'm the
Yep.
bee's knees, you know what I mean?
Yep.
17, 18. And then I didn't make the team and he gave me the massive bollocking and he said, you're never not making a team ever again. It doesn't
Right.
matter if
Okay.
it's junior, senior, you're never not making a team again.
Right. Okay.
From then, never not made a team ever
Yeah.
again.
Brilliant.
I'd like medaled in like all national competitions for GB. I went to the Europeans as like only under 23 sprinter for GB, medaled there. Qualify for the World Championships, qualify for 2 Commonwealth Games, qualify for the Olympics, and like for me to have that bollocking was like the wow sort of
Yeah.
moment for me.
Right. Okay. Right.
Yeah,
Brilliant. I like that wow moment because that's almost a different wow moment that we've kind of had
yeah,
within like kind of all the other kind of like podcasts that we've had. So I like that. I like that one. So as you mentioned, you started more competing at kind of 15. So would you
yeah,
say your kind of childhood kind of changed then? So like we've had guests on who have said they've missed say not going out with friends, or consequently kind of like losing friends, and they've missed kind of parties and birthdays, and they've had to like kind of go to bed early because they've had to get up in the morning and kind of train. Was that a similar kind of say process for yourself growing up
Yeah,
from say like kind of 50
yeah,
years? Yeah,
absolutely. You miss the parties, the birthdays, the holidays, the weddings, all of that sort of
yeah,
jazz. But then you make up for it because you get to travel to nice places. And yeah, it's not the same. But
yeah.
I spent what 10 years traveling, training, whatever.
Wow.
Missed out on all the lads' holidays,
Yeah.
and all of that sort of stuff. So after the Commonwealth Games 2018, I took myself to Thailand for 6 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
Like I had the money to do it. I wanted
Yeah.
to the experience, and I just took myself out there, and that was my lads' holiday, and
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was my sort of
So would you see
like
that?
everything else.
So them like kind of lads' holidays and then birthdays and kind of parties that you've missed. Would you see that as a sacrifice? Because I know some of the guests that we've had on, probably more recently, they said they didn't really see it as a sacrifice because it's something that they really, do you know, like kind of wanted to do. So
Yeah.
what would your kind of thoughts be on that?
Not necessarily a sacrifice. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it sucks to miss out, but like it also sucks to be in a group chat and not understand any of the banter that's going on, or not be involved in any of the conversations when
Yeah.
someone got too drunk and jumped into the ocean and the
Yeah.
balcony broke on in the holiday in Greece, and you just
Yeah.
sat there like, oh yeah, well, I was sat in a hotel in Tenerife then,
Yeah.
drinking water, electrolyte, stretching.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Okay.
like, yeah, but it's one of those things. It's all about like, how you make it and what you want to do. Because
Yeah.
obviously, I didn't have the upbringing of going on holiday and having amazing Christmases and birthdays and stuff like that. So I was making a
Okay.
legacy for myself. So
Yeah. Yeah.
now I've got my son. He can
Yeah.
have all the holidays, the Christmases and
Oh,
stuff like that.
yeah,
So
yeah. Okay. Okay. So as you mentioned at the start, from moving between say 14 foster homes when you was younger,
yeah,
to winning your silver medals for Team GB in the 2011 European Youth Olympic Festival, like we've kind of mentioned,
yeah,
then obviously taking bronze in the 200 meters in the 2018 Commonwealth Games in Australia. Again, as we mentioned, first in 28 years for Northern Ireland. And then obviously your world got completely kind of turned upside down with events that happened in, say, 2020.
yeah,
However, while she was waiting for all things to kind of calm down with that, you still qualified for Tokyo Olympics in 21,
yeah,
reaching the semi-finals with a season's best of 20:53. So there's been a few kind of like crazy years, to kind of say the
yeah.
least, that you've experienced. So can I just ask how you kind of personally cope with them kind of roller coaster of emotions and them real kind of highs that you've kind of mentioned, and then
Yeah.
the real kind of downside as well? How do you kind of personally cope with that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was all down to me putting a trust in a friend when, say, like I got arrested and things like that. It was a friend I used to train with and things like
Right.
that. So I'd known
Okay.
the guy. Yeah, so it's a guy I'd known for 12 years. My
Right.
coach had moved to India before the
Right.
Olympics,
Okay.
and I was like, "Well, should I go? Should I stay?" So I went, and then from then my friend was like, "Oh, can I rent your place?" Like, of course you can. I know you. Nothing
Yep.
wrong with you.
Yep.
And yeah, turned out he was doing loads of dodgy stuff. So when it did come
Yeah.
back, and I did get it all sorted. It was kind of
Yeah.
like, right, I've been done over here, but the police will sort it because they had all my laptops, iPads, phones, everything. I was like,
Yep.
you've got my codes, you've got everything. I'm just going to leave this to you. I've got
Yep.
a mission.
Yep.
So I didn't really have something sitting on my shoulder. I mean, I did in a way where it's like it could
Yep.
go haywire, but it was like I know I haven't done anything wrong, so
Cool. Yep.
I'm
You're
like
still kind of
zoned
focused
in.
and zoned.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Cool.
So then I moved down to Brighton where I am now, like with my adopted parents,
Yep.
and then from then I was able to like make my way up to London every day training. I was driving
Cool.
nearly 100 miles a day up and down. I was gymming. I was going here. I was trying to get advice from different coaches. I was still working with my coach. I moved to Wales for a little bit,
Yep.
and I was all over the place. So it
Okay.
was, yeah, just trying to keep my head straight and head focused. It was like
Yep.
trying to achieve those little goals
Yep.
for then the
Okay.
bigger picture to come
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Okay.
fruition.
So would you say any of the kind of events that you've experienced have affected you kind of mentally? Because I know we've had quite a few different guests on. We had a couple in like kind of football. We've had a couple in basketball. One of them was who we've mentioned before in the show was Jory Davis, and she'd just got signed by the WNBA in one of the draft picks. And before she actually started training, she actually got cut and she said she spent like kind of days like in her room. And recently we had a footballer from Dagenham and Redbridge on Miles, and he said the same. He got to a point where he told his dad, or he spoke to his dad, he spoke to his agent, saying he wanted to kind of quit football, and he said he was just sat in like a dark room. And he said like he was just really kind of struggling. So have any kind of events kind of affected you kind of mentally, or was it like you've just said you were just kind of focusing on them, like say little goals, and you were just kind of zoned in on achieving what you kind of set out
Yeah,
to?
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. I definitely had dark days, and I was living in my
Yep.
mum's spare room.
Right. Okay.
Some days just slumming around in bed, and
Yep.
obviously she's losing her head because she's so seeing me as like a high achiever, high energy,
Yep.
nice guy, go out seeing people, and I'm just locked myself in my room and I'm just watching telly, and I've got no motivation for life,
Right.
let alone
Yep.
training. So just being able to have your dark days
Yep.
and then speak to the people around you to see what you actually want to do. But to say, like, when I finished athletics,
Yep.
I knew I wanted to finish athletics probably 2 or 3 years ago. It
Right.
was like
Okay.
I never enjoyed athletics. I was just really
Right.
good at it.
Right. Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like the Ben White scenario when he's like, he doesn't like football, he doesn't watch football, but
Yep.
he's good at it. He plays for one of the
Yeah.
best
Yeah.
teams
Yeah.
in the world.
Okay. Okay.
And it's like, yeah.
So kind of pre kind of events in say 2020, would would there have been any times where, because you was say like we mentioned at the start of the show, just say like a second off, say like Usain Bolt, as we'd kind of explained at the start, would there
Yeah.
be any kind of instances where you felt like giving up, or whether there was any kind of like injuries that you got and you kind of missed out on say qualification for kind of different kind of competitions and stuff, or did that never kind of cross your mind when you was kind of competing? Was
No,
it just that
never.
mindset that you had?
Yeah, never really crossed my mind. We
Okay.
weren't like built like that. So like when I first came into training, I was training under some of the top Olympians in the country, and I had
Okay.
done for 5 years. So
Yeah.
I mean, turning up 5 minutes late,
Yeah.
if you don't have a valid reason, you're getting sent home. It was kind of like it was
Yeah.
like being in a boarding school but for training. And it was
Okay.
like, oh, you can't be bothered today. Well,
Yeah.
I can't be bothered. So sling your hook. I'm going
Right.
home. The coach would
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
walk out, and you go, well, if you're not trying, what's the point of me being here?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So then with that, then when you kind of look back on all your journeys that you've had in the sports, kind of positively and negatively, kind of physically and mentally, would you say climbing that mountain for you was worth the view from what you've experienced?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I've met some amazing people. It's opened so many doors.
Yep.
I mean, it's still opening doors now, and it's just
Good.
like, just being able to speak to you today is just like
Yep.
something that wouldn't have ever happened if I didn't ever pick up the computer and try to
Yeah.
speak to someone in the science class. Do you know what I mean? So it's all
Yeah.
had like
Yeah. Yeah.
the universe has always had a snowball effect, and it's just like I wouldn't have met my partner. I
Right.
wouldn't
Okay.
have had my son. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
met my coach. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be
Yeah.
godfather to his son.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things. I'm always one of those things. I regret absolutely nothing,
Okay.
and I
Yep.
wouldn't have done anything different.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like you have to take the highs with the lows and
Right.
learn
Okay.
from mistakes
Yeah.
and take it as a positive,
Yeah.
and like how you learn and things like that. So
Yeah. And I think that's a really kind of special mindset to kind of have, because I know from obviously the stories that you've kind of shared with us today, and knowing kind of different events and things that you've kind of gone through, to speak so kind of positively about everything, and not to have any like kind of regrets, or to bear any say like kind of grudges, and to come
yeah,
across so like kind of so happy and kind of humble, and to talk so openly about all these kind of experiences today, I think it is something quite kind of special in itself. So as the show comes to an end, we've had a tradition throughout the 2 seasons that we've been recording, and we ask all our guests if they've had any favourite quotes or philosophies they've used to allow them to kind of get to where they are today. And one of our last guests was Megan Gillier, MBE, who we mentioned earlier on, and she always said that I'm not what happened to me, I'm what I chose to become. Which I thought would kind of resonate with you like
yeah,
really well, because of
yeah.
obviously like kind of what happened on your journey. So I was wondering if there was any kind of quotes or anything that's kind of stood out in your mind that's kind of helped you achieve what you've achieved so far on your journey?
Yeah. Well, I've got a few. I'm a sucker for motivational videos on YouTube, to be honest. But like I've got a main one that sort of sticks with me wherever it's sort of like, how bad do you want it? It's like it's
Yeah.
an Eric Thomas video on YouTube,
Right.
and
Okay.
it's basically just like I would always ask myself when I'm at training, I'm being sick, my legs
Yeah.
aren't working, I'm tired, I
Yeah.
want to go home and watch Netflix and eat
Yeah.
Cheerios, and then I just think to myself, well, how bad do you want it? Because
Yeah.
the sponsors aren't going to come to you,
Yeah.
the money's not going to come, the travel, the agents, the
Yeah.
lights, the cameras,
Yeah. Yeah.
documentaries, they're not going to come unless you work for it. So it's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like, it was always like, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Okay, fine, let's just do it. Like, let's just go. And it's like
Yeah.
questioning yourself. That mindset is like that chimp paradox, the book or the audio tape that people listen to. It's kind of like you've
Yeah.
got two chimps on your shoulder, and it's like
Yeah.
one's telling you to go to bed and just chill out, and
Yeah.
the other one's telling you to get up and go
That the
and get
Steve
it.
Peters one?
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 Do you know what that quote that you mentioned? It's funny because we had Lee Grantham on. He was one of like our very first kind of guests on. He's an ultramarathon runner, and he didn't get into ultramarathon running until he may have been about 27. I may
yeah,
be wrong. And he said exactly the same. He'd say to himself at the start of a race, "How much do you want it?" And that was like kind of his like kind of big thing.
yeah,
So it's nice that someone else has used that one
yeah.
as
No,
well,
no, I know.
which is really
But
nice.
I went up to Loughborough as well. I was doing up there doing some testing or something like that, and then there was an Olympic athlete. I think it was I can't remember her name, but it will come to me. I'm sure
Okay.
when we go offline. But she said train like you're going to war, because race day is a battlefield. People
Yeah.
want it
Yeah.
more than you, so it
Yeah.
depends who's more prepared. So he's like, prepare like you're going to war,
Yeah.
like give it your all, because on the
Yeah.
day it's easy. Then when you're prepared, it's easy. It's going back to my preparation again, like that. It's
Yeah.
like fail to prepare, prepare to fail.
Yeah.
It's it's as simple as that.
Yeah. Definitely
Like the
brilliant.
yeah.
Uh,
So
okay. So Leon, as the show comes to an end, we just want to say thank you so much for sharing some amazing stories with us on Elite Children: A Family Portrait. And I'm sure the listeners at home can definitely see they're not alone in raising elite level children. And over the past 2 seasons of the podcast, we've been overwhelmed by, say, the professional family to kind of come out and share so many kind of inspiring, motivating, and resilient stories with us that we can all use in our everyday lives to inspire us and to motivate us. So thank you so much for adding to that today. Good luck with all your future ventures. And I
yeah,
just wanted to ask one kind of final kind of question and just see what kind of future projects and plans you've got kind of going on at the moment. Because I know you was looking at setting up a mentoring service, because I know I'd read that you wanted to share your kind of misfortunes, to help those still in the professional sport.
yeah,
And that was kind of one of the reasons that you wanted to start your mentoring business. So I was just
yeah.
wondering what kind of future plans we could look out for along the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you do athletics as well, you do get a lot of spare time after you've done your eight
Yeah,
hours of training, which is
yeah,
broken down through the day. You've got a bit of time to think about
yeah.
things. So even like now at the moment, I'm working in sort of like a semi-private gym down here in Brighton. So I'm
Okay,
helping people achieve their fitness goals,
cool.
and I'm working alongside a championship football player called Grant Hall. So
Oh, okay,
we've
yeah,
set up
cool,
a business helping players get faster, more efficient on and off the
cool.
ball, being able to help them produce more speed and things like
Yeah,
that. So
wow.
that's in the works, talking to some big clubs about that.
Yeah, fab.
And then yeah, with the mentoring, I'm working with at the moment a local mentor company called Sid Mentoring, which is over in Worthing.
Okay.
So from there, they've taken me into Lewis Football Club to speak to the under 16 women about sort of like
Wow.
coercion and things like that.
Yeah,
Because even like with the things that happened to me, I was like sort of coerced, but I didn't know it was happening to me
yeah,
because I knew the person,
yeah,
and me being able to pass that on so that doesn't happen to anyone else is so
yeah,
important. So
yeah,
it's like little things like that along the journey. If I can share my wisdom, then I
yeah.
will.
And I think with the people in the gym and the people that you kind of come across in like the different, say like football teams and whether they're professional or amateur, I think with the stories that you can share and the experiences that you can kind of share with them,
Yeah,
I think they'll hold so much more weight because of who they're kind of coming from. I mean, again, if they have a conversation like we've had today, and you can kind of mention about all those different medals and then competitions and that kind of training regime and the mindset and the resilience and the motivation, it's great that you can kind of pass on all that experience to them. So I'm sure any kind of project or venture that you're involved with will be a huge success.
Thank you.
So Leon Reid, thank you so much for being such an amazing guest, such a humble guest, and such a nice guy on Elite Children, a Family Portrait. So thank you so much for that today.
My pleasure, mate. Thanks for having me.